Alright, so tonight's video is going to be about an estate sale that I attended last Friday. Is that last Friday? No, a week ago last Friday. Last Friday was July 4th, and I was camping. Yeah, a week ago last Friday I attended an estate sale next town over from me because they had listed that there was a lathe there, and of course figured, and a lot of tools. Figured, well, if there's a lathe, good chance there's some machinist tools, check it out. Alright, so I'm going to start with this box right here. Now, let me explain to you about what happened at this estate sale. This company that was running this estate sale I had never been to before. It was one of these companies that, you know, the heirs of the estate hire, and they come in and they run the whole estate sale. They advertised it on Friday and Saturday. Friday start time was supposed to be 10 a.m. I've been to the estate sales before, and there's always dealers and everybody who gets there really early. But most estate sales are pretty good about managing and making sure that the first person there gets the first chance to go through stuff. And it isn't like a free-for-all. Well, in this particular situation, they had the house, and they had a couple of outbuildings, a garage and an outbuilding that had clear plastic paneling for roof to let daylight in, sort of. And in that's where this guy must have had his machine shop, or kind of a machine shop. All I saw in there was a big old lathe. It was an old Reed Prentice, forgot what model it was, cone head, no quick change gearbox, and that was the only thing that really was hurting it. Well, the fact that it's just an old cone head, and those are a hard sell to begin with, but what made it even a harder sell was there was no quick change gearbox, and there were no change gears to be found anywhere. There was a tapering jig, looked fairly complete, lying under the lathe under a ton of dirt and debris. I don't think a lot of people even realize what that was. I'll get to that a little bit later. It had either a 3 or a 4 jaw chuck on it, and I think under the lathe there was a large faceplate, and the heck else? I'm trying to think of what else was there. Oh, a fixed study rest. So, it had a little bit of tooling to go with it. Had a 4-speed gearbox, so it had the electric motor setup that runs the 4-speed gearbox, and the output pulley, you know, with the flat leather belt, so that you could change speeds without actually changing position of the belt on the cone. It's the same setup as what I've got on the Vernon lathe. But getting back to the start time, it's supposed to be a 10 a.m. start time. I got there at 9:45 because I had a prior appointment I had to go to. Got there as quickly as I could. I got there for 9:45, only to find they had already let people in. People were already buying things. As I walked up to the garage, I saw a guy coming out with a box like this, and he must have had several stands with indicators on them in there. I couldn't even get to see what was in there. He was already coming out. He had already cut his deal. A lot of guys were coming out with items I had seen in the photos. So then I went into the area where the lathe was. They had a price of $650 on that lathe, and nobody was even, you know, a lot of people were asking what the heck it was. They didn't even know. You know, you had a lot of people coming in that didn't really know what a lathe was for. They had quite a few drills in boxes, but they just, you know, the drills were just thrown into the boxes, and, you know, a lot of people just shy away from that, especially if they're just high-speed steel. Nobody wants to deal with drills that have been smacking around each other. Nobody but me, that is. They had a price, like all the boxes they had, like a price like $50 on all 3 boxes of miscellaneous drills. Well, you know, I've gotten so many drill bits now, you know, I'm kind of hard-pressed to spend any money on any drills. Same thing, they had a whole bunch of taps. Same thing with taps. Good deal for somebody who didn't have any taps. As a matter of fact, while I was there, a guy came in and he popped the $50 and bought all the taps. And I asked him, and he says he's from like a Voctec college. And, you know, he said he's just wanted them and just going to just donate them to the school. So, good for him. Because I was getting ready to pick them. Because what ended up happening was, after the initial bum rush of all the people coming in and buying, you know, making their deals and everything, I stuck around, and as it tapered off by 11 o'clock, I found that I was going and looking in the big wooden drawers in this workbench there, and I saw some of these lathe holders, and I was like, oh. I says, you know, I've seen these used, and these are nice to have. So these are the style that have the triangle shaped cutter that you can replace. So this particular one, actually it just says lock, so you know, and these are rusty because they were sitting in an unheated garage area. But you know, the idea is that you can rotate that 2 more times, so when this cutting edge gets dull you just rotate it, and then eventually you just replace the whole cutter. So I was like, I wouldn't mind having a few of those, you know, and they're nice big ones, you know. So I asked the guy, one of the guys who was there, I says, well, what are you going to get for these? And of course everybody had left, so now they get to the point where they get ready to just figure they're going to end up having to sell these to the scrap guy. So he says, he said the bigger ones like that, he says they probably want to get $1 a piece, maybe for the smaller ones 50 cents. But he said the more you buy, the cheaper you get them. So what I ended up doing was I ended up going through the box and pulling them all out. And I'm going to pause the camera while I unload this. You can see I got quite an assortment here. Now, some of these, like this one here, this one says it's a Guild 370 or 371, I don't know. But that looks like it's just like a brazed, like there's just a cutter on that. You know, that's not removable, but it's a separate, that cutting edge is a separate piece from that. And that, that almost looks like it might be, I don't know, it's got a rounded tip on it, if that's a 60-degree threading angle on there. I don't know. There's that one. Here's another one like that. This one's a Carbolo. And then there's some like that that are with the replaceable little tips there. This is a, oh, here, a Carboloy. This one says 3/8 TE12 and a TE10. And I could Google those and probably find out what the heck those are. This one actually says right on it RH, so this is a right hand tool. Here's another one that doesn't, this is a Carboloy, but it's one of the ones that doesn't come apart. Even these though, I don't really see how that, I don't know how you remove those. Oh, I see, there's an Allen screw in the bottom. Oh, that's neat. Alright, and then here's one a little bit larger. This says Ushinsky on it. Alright, maybe somebody made that. The guy's name was Ushinsky? I don't know. That one's got a little bit of an angle on it. So that's a right-hand tool, right? Cuts right to left. There's one with more of an angle on it. This must be a left hand. Another right hand. Another right hand. That one's really got some beef to it. Talk about giving it some strength. Another one. That's a Carboloy. That's a big, heavy, thick holder. This one's got a completely different insert on it than the other ones. It's got this yellow on the side here. Can't quite make out what that one says. That's different. And I guess that's a left hand. Another left hand. Another right. Another right. Left with more of an angle there. And then there's this one here. This is a big sucker. What is this one? This is a, I don't know, but I think that might be right at home on my 14-inch Vernon cone head. You know, I don't know. Well, it looks like maybe the tip on that's not so. I don't know. I could play around with that though. Just, you know, put it in there, see how it cuts. This one says BL85 on it, if that means anything to anybody. But anyways, because you know, buying more of them, so I basically I took all the ones that were in there, and I ended up getting these for about 25 cents a piece. You know, it was pretty much like 4 for $1. I think maybe I popped like $5 on this whole pile. Plus, I found loose in the box. I found all of these brand new, look like they're unused inserts that go on. A lot of them look like the ones that go on these cutters. So I was kind of happy to see those in there, and I think the Easy just kind of let me take them with the cutters. And then there was even this packet of brand new ones that weren't even. These aren't even out of the package yet. But I looked at these pretty close, and these look like they're new too. Okay. The old timer who was living in this house, if he was just grabbing them from work or what. But see, I got quite a few. So I got that many of those inserts. Then